Well, I thought our guys, took the bye week, came in Tuesday, practiced pretty well. I really liked the tempo they had all week, and I know they're excited to get out here and play again, get an opportunity to get out in front of the crowd, hopefully have a good atmosphere. It sounds like we're supposed to have good weather, so should be good to go. Update-wise, injury-wise, all those guys out to practice all week. Wozniak, Jeff Duckworth, all those guys.
You expect both Shelton and Desmond to get
Shelton,
work?
yeah. Shelton actually looked really good last night. Really the first time I saw him, the old Shelton. So plan is Des going to start, but I think Shelton would be first off the bench at either spot.
Same with Ethan and Kevin? Or?
I think Clax will probably start, but Ethan actually was a guy that really benefited from the week off. You can see he's just a little more sudden, a little bit faster right now.
The letter you guys
the letter
today, you and Barry. It's been a topic of discussion over the years. From your perspective, do you think it just boils down to it's really not that unreasonable for people to come into a game and not have to hear that?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know anything about it until I came here. And then, obviously, during the game, I don't know when it happens or doesn't happen. I just, made the comment to Coach last week, after that Nebraska game, how much I thought our kids were affected by coming out in the student section that was full and loud. And then I think Tuesday or Wednesday last week, someone forwarded me the singing of Buttercup in the 6-minute mark, and I'm like, that's unbelievable. I mean, it was. I have a couple buddies that had never seen a game here before that came, who were friends of mine from Kansas State, and they were just blown away by that. And it was kind of funny. Coach and I walk at 11:30 every Thursday, and I think they sent the letter out at 11. I said, how many emails do you think we got right now? And we just both started laughing because we knew it would probably be a hot topic. But the only thing is, the negative part of it, obviously, you don't want the profanities, but we've actually had to restructure where we sit recruits at times because obviously it's just something that's, if you come in the stadium for the first time, you've never heard it, it's kind of shocking. And we got so many positive things. We got such a great student section and it has an effect on the game, and that's big.
Have you ever had a parent or parents of a recruit say to you?
Absolutely.
Did it cost you a recruit ever, do you think? Or did it contribute?
It didn't help. I mean, it's not a positive thing. The ones that get me, I get a lot of emails, very, very, the ones that get me is when it's a parent that's got a small child and have to explain what's being said or try not to explain what's being said. That's the part. I can deal with recruiting, and I mean, it doesn't help us, but it's those stories that kind of, when you're in college, you don't think big picture, and there's nothing. No, you're not supposed to. That's what college is being, is college. But that part's just the negative aspect.
Do you think with college students, though, sometimes the more you push, the more?
100%. I've, this was, I don't sit around during the middle of the season and say, they just said, hey, I actually changed it. I was the one that suggested putting the 2 videos attached to it. I wanted to put the 3rd video of the chant and just say, which one do you want to have represent you? We're going to show this to your employer, and you're in the middle of this singing Caroline or this singing Buttercup, or in the middle of this chant. Which one looks better at you? But the university didn't want to put that in the email, which I understand, but I would have.
You ever worried that maybe if they check the box, they take the chant?
I don't think so, because it's really, other stuff is cool.
On another topic, do you have any feelings about the talk of reducing scholarships from 85 to 80?
Yeah, I would be adamantly opposed to it. I think I was never around for the other side of it, and the older coaches that were involved that just said how much it affected the game. And right now, as you know, it's been well documented. I couldn't find scholarships for Abby and Heem. I mean, it's at a perfect number. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Coach Fry used to say that all the time, and I think there's a lot of truth to it. We've got a good game right now. I think it evened the playing field. So I think the agenda was right.
Do you know why you think it's working, but obviously someone thinks that it doesn't need to be fixed? Why would they be looking at reducing it?
I don't know. I got to believe it probably has something to do maybe with Title IX. That's the reason it originally got reduced, is every opportunity you have for a male athlete, you have to have for a female athlete. And there's just no sport that's comparable to the needs that you have for football.
You told us about paring down practice a little from South Dakota to Nebraska. Have you continued that this week?
Well, this week we could back off just because we got extra work on Indiana.
Okay.
Tuesday was about the same as Nebraska prep, and Wednesday was just a little bit shorter.
Brett, you talked briefly on Monday about Oglesby, and given all the injuries that he's had, guy coming out, top ranked guy across the country. I mean, do you get the sense at all that he's a guy who feels like he still needs to prove himself based on that ranking?
100%. I think he's a kid. I don't think rankings had to do with it. I think he's just a kid that wants to play his best football. One thing I always talk about is if you're doing things according to plan, you should play your best football your senior year. And that's what he's trying to do. He came back faster than ever when they thought he was going to be out for a while with that the last knee injury. He's playing with an edge. I know the pro scouts have been very impressed with the way he's playing, so that kind of gives me an indication that I kind of get blinders, and trying to always find ways to improve, where the outside world can look at it and say, hey, he's really playing well. So I think that's, even John Moffett was out of practice today. Should have brought him in for a guest appearance. I know you guys would have loved that. But Moff made a comment about how he thought Josh was playing pretty good.
So as far as NFL prospects, you feel pretty good about it?
Yeah, you can't. There's not many Josh Oglesbys walking around in the world. There's very few guys that have that size frame. He could pop down right here and do the splits right in front of us. He's a freak athlete genetically.
Can you talk a little bit about Claxton? I talked to him last night, and he seems really frustrated with his injury. Do you kind of have to tell him to be careful?
They would, as far as the hand injury. Claxton's just always one of those guys. He's had this, he's had that. I know he's frustrated because it doesn't allow him to fit as well as he wants to on certain plays. But I can't say enough about Kevin. It really jumped out. He got quite a few captain votes. So I know kids really respected him and admired him. He's a guy that kind of crosses over into every group, offense, defense, white, black, young, old. He's just one of those guys. And for that, I'm very thankful for him.
Last night at the meeting, you were telling people to pay attention to Willis this weekend?
Yeah, you mean at the Mendota last night?
Mendota.
Damn, you got sources everywhere, Patrick.
On the fan board.
I just, really. What I try to do with that group is I try to give them something to think about, and Fred he's just grown so much in the last month. He's a guy that, again, going back to camp, we didn't really know much about him. When he comes into high school camp, runs a sub 4.4. We're like, where does this guy come from? And he takes to coaching. He's very conscientious. Mom raised a great kid. He is detail oriented, and he's just caught the ball really well. Last week I beat him up because he dropped a couple balls in one day, and I said, I said in front of the team, you keep making plays like that, you'll be a DB before you know it. And he kind of looked at me, and everybody started telling stories about Miles Brinkley and all those other guys, and he's caught everything since then.
What have you thought of Peniel Jean in the nickel?
PJ's done a nice job. I kind of held my breath, because you're always worried that corner the first time, but PJ's physical. He's very, again, another kid that really likes the details. I think he knows he's going to have details to play here. He plays physical. One of the things I loved about him when we recruited him on high school film, he was probably one of the most physical corners I've ever watched. I don't know about his cover skills, but he was definitely whack you. And I know it's a big one for him this week. His mom and dad from Haiti are coming in for this game, so I know it'll be a big one for him. They don't live in Haiti now, but
they got a big receiver, Indiana. So what do you think of him?
Yeah, Belcher.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the best in the league. Nick was in my office today, and I kind of said, this kid might be one of the best ones with you in this league. He's big, he's powerful. Man, they're probably saying the same thing about Toon. It seems like he's been here forever. I remember going against them. I think their skill is good, and he's a guy that definitely is the leader of that group.